Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Rachel. If you're new here, I am not really a chef. I am a student nutrition director, so I've done a lot of cooking, but I do a high protein journey. So let me show you what we're making. A high protein coconut cream pie is what we're making. Previously, I showed you how to make the crust. It's a coconut flour crust. You need to look for that video if you don't have one. The recipe that I used was from Sugar-Free Mom, and pretty much spot on exactly what she did, except I just didn't mix mine up in the food processor because I don't really have one. So here's what I'm going to use to make my high protein. I'm using a combination of these two protein shakes. Now, you can use any protein shakes you like. Somebody's going to say, hey, Fairlife is better. Hey, whatever you've got, use it. This is what I happen to have on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. Now, the next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need some kind of powdered sweetener. I happen to have this on hand, this allulose, so that's what I used. It calls for Swerve powdered sweetener, so whatever you've got, go ahead and use it. It also calls for 2 eggs, which I have put in here along with my allulose. And it was 2/3 of a cup of allulose is what I put in here. Now, in addition to that, it also calls for a little bit of vanilla. I'm going to use a little bit of this right here, French vanilla stevia. This happens to be a really good sweetener. It's very concentrated. So let me grab the one that's already open, because that one was a brand new one. So here we go. Same thing. We're going to do just a little bit, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops, not many. Just a little bit, and then I'm going to add a little bit of regular vanilla. And yes, y'all, I'm one of those cooks. That's probably about a teaspoon is all I added. I'm one of those girls, okay? And then, I guess I ought to get you down here to where you can see the bowl, maybe. I've got this new stand, so I am trying to get you guys to where you can see what I got going on, okay? And I'm going to do a little bit of this coconut syrup. That'll really amp up the coconut flavor. All right. Now we're going to mix that around. So that's 2 beaten eggs, 2/3 of a cup of the sweetener. I've added a little bit of vanilla stevia. And the final thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add a little bit of sugar-free pudding mix. She calls for xanthan gum. And this recipe is inspired by Carolyn Ketchum's All Day Long I Dream About Food, her coconut cream pie recipe. Basically, I'm swapping it up though because I'm going to use protein powder. I do not happen to have any xanthan gum right now, or glycomine. I don't have either one of those. No, I don't know how to say it. So if I butchered it up, y'all are going to have to correct me and it'll be okay because I just don't know how to pronounce that. And the next thing that we need is some coconut flakes. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and start cooking it. And into here, I am putting my 2 protein shakes that I have already put in there. Now, these are vanilla. If you'd rather use the Fairlife, then go right ahead. I put my vanilla sugar-free jello mix into my eggs, and we are going to temper the eggs. And if you've never done that, tempering is simply adding some of the hot liquid into the eggs, and that keeps them from curdling up or cooking. Because if you don't do it right, you could end up with scrambled eggs, y'all. And here's the thing though, if it does happen to curdle on you, just go ahead and put it in the blender and blend it up and go on with it. It'll be okay. Just don't make scrambled eggs, okay? So that's all we're doing is we're heating it up. Right now I've got this on high. This is probably going to take a couple of minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on cooking. And then I'll bring you back in a minute, okay? Alrighty, friends, it's just about time to start tempering those eggs. So, I've got my mixture here, and it's really, really hot, and we're going to slowly pour it in here while we're whisking this with a fork. What this does is it heats up the eggs, and that way when I add them to this mixture, we will not have scrambled eggs. We are going to end up with a good, nice, wonderful coconut cream pie. So there we go, folks. We have the rest of it in there. Now we're going to cook it for just a couple of minutes. Y'all pay no mind. My stove. Now it's already starting to thicken. So did y'all ever cook with your grandma? I never got that experience. I have taught my grandsons to cook, though. We did a lot of cooking when they were little because I didn't want them to feel as though they had to depend on anybody to cook for them. I said, you boys need to be able to cook. So I cooked with them, all of them. Now the youngest one, he's really quite the cook. I didn't cook with him as much, but I'm going to tell you what, he really took to it. He's quite the chef. The oldest one, he can certainly survive, and I think even the middle one can do all right. Anyway, we're just going to cook this a little bit longer. We're going to let it thicken up just a little bit more. And then we're going to pour it over there into our pie crust. Alrighty, friends, I've been cooking this for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it's starting to get thick, but I'm afraid it's not going to be thick enough because I'm using the protein shake instead of heavy cream that she called for. So, you know, recipes are kind of finicky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more of this vanilla pudding. I'm going to show y'all how a real cook ends up saving a recipe. Alright? That's how we do it. We have all kinds of tips and tricks. Now, if this were one that wasn't, I'm specifically making this one sugar-free. No added sugar because I can't have a lot of sugar. I'm diabetic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and thicken this up with that vanilla pudding. And then I'm going to pour it over there into my pie crust. And I'm going to let it cool. And I'm going to show you how it turns out. Okay? So I'll be back in just a little bit to show you how it is. Okay? Welcome back, friends. My pie has finally cooled. I've got it out of the refrigerator and I am getting ready to cut it up. So let me slice it on up and I'll show you what it looks like, okay? Welcome back, friends. Here's my pie. What do you think about that? I think that looks absolutely delicious. I toasted some coconut and put on top. So now the crust is a little thicker than what I would normally make, but it's okay. So let's see how this tastes. Wow, I happen to like that. That's really good. You need to make that. All right, you guys, you have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.